Every language guru tells you to just listen more, but it is the number one reason you still can't get the accent right. You can listen for 1,000 hours, but you'll still sound like a foreigner. Why? Because listening is passive consumption. Fluency is active production. What if I told you there's a technique that forces your brain to bridge that gap? A method perfected by my own polyglot mentor that physically rewires your mouth to make the sounds of a native speaker. It's the single most powerful way to fix your accent, and almost nobody online is talking about it. It's called shadowing. Hey, my name is Robbie. I study 8 languages every single day, and I'm a firm believer that self-study is the absolute key to unlocking real fluency. And let me tell you the truth. I've learned from my own journey and from brilliant mentors like Professor Arguez. Your accents and your rhythm are what make you sound fluent. Grammar and vocabulary are crucial, of course, but if the music of your speech is wrong, you'll always struggle to be understood and to understand. But the great news is there's a way to train this. So I'm going to show you exactly what shadowing is and how you can start using it today. So the common advice you always hear is to just listen. And it's not terrible advice, but it's painfully slow for developing your actual speaking muscles. When you only listen, you become a consumer of the language, not a producer. It's so interesting. Professor Arguez points out that in ancient times, silent reading was considered bizarre. He mentions how St. Augustine was totally flabbergasted when he saw his bishop reading without moving his lips. Back then, people always read aloud. They produced the language. Because here's the thing, when you just listen passively, your brain gets lazy. You don't have to fully engage. You can have a podcast on for hours in the background and still not be able to replicate a simple sentence with the right feel, the right emotion. So yes, do all that other stuff. Read, watch videos, talk to people on italki. But you absolutely need to set aside time for deliberate practice that bridges the gap between hearing and speaking. And the secret is shadowing. Shadowing is where you speak at the same time as the native audio. You're not repeating after the speaker. You are speaking directly on top of them. Professor Arguez's key insight here is a total game changer. He says you have to be right on top of the sound. If you lag behind, you're just repeating and you can still use your own bad habits. But if you try to speak at the exact same moment, you are forced to match the rhythm, the intonation, and the pronunciation perfectly. If you're off, you'll immediately hear the clash between your voice and the native speaker's voice. It's instant feedback. Okay, so how do you actually do this the right way? It's a process. Step 1, blind shadowing. This is just you and the audio. No book, no text. Get some good learning material like Asamil or Linguaphone, put on your headphones, and just walk around your room trying to mimic the sounds you hear in real time. Now, the goal here isn't to understand every word. Professor Arguez calls this the first step to just become familiar with the sounds. You're training your mouth and your ears to work together in a new way. It feels really weird at first, I know, but trust me, it's so powerful. Step 2, shadowing with the bilingual text. Okay, now you bring in the book. This is where you start connecting the sounds to the actual meaning. And there's a progression to this that Professor Arguez lays out, which is just brilliant. First, you shadow the audio while looking mostly at the English translation. You're just getting the general gist of what's being said. Then, you keep shadowing, but you start forcing your eyes to look more and more at the target language text. And finally, the goal is to shadow while looking only at the target language. At this point, you're not translating in your head anymore. You're directly connecting the foreign sounds to the foreign words. That's a huge milestone. Step 3, the power technique. Get physical. And speaking of powerful techniques, this is the real game changer. Professor Arguez told a story about how he discovered the incredible power of getting his body involved. You need to connect the language to a physical rhythm. The best way to do this is to go for a long walk or a run while you're shadowing. This physical movement drives the linguistic rhythm of the language deep into your brain. It feels incredible. Once you get comfortable with your learning materials, you can do this with anything. Shadow audiobooks, news reports, podcasts. This is how you move from just being a learner to becoming an advanced, confident user of the language. It keeps you focused and totally, completely immersed. So that's it. That's the secret. It's not magic, it's a system. You use shadowing to totally transform your accent and fluency. This is how you truly internalize the language. It stops being something you just study and starts becoming something you can actually do. So stop just being a passive listener, start shadowing and take active control of your fluency. If this idea of shadowing excites you, I have 2 things that will take you even deeper. First, I want to give you all of my future language books for free. They're exclusively for my newsletter subscribers. In the newsletter, I also share my best kept secrets, tools, and the specific systems I use to stay fluent. It's my inner circle for serious learners. That's the first link in the description. Second, if your main focus right now is Spanish, I want to give you an unfair advantage. I'm releasing a new app that uses the cheat code mnemonic system to install Spanish words directly into your long-term memory. It's the end of forgetfulness. To get on the exclusive early access list, click the second link in the description. So, 2 paths for you. Join the inner circle or get the Spanish cheat codes. Pick the one that's right for you. Thanks so much and good luck studying.